Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So today Bethesda released a brand new trailer for Wastelanders. It looks very, very cool. So we're going to take a little look, do a little bit of a reaction, come sort of deep dive, see what we can pull out of it, and take a look, see what it's all about. So let's get stuck in, shall we? So, yes, brand new trailer. Wastelanders is now, what, 5 days away? Give or take? Which is really, really cool, getting very, very hyped. This trailer is certainly helping with that, which I suppose is the idea, but it's doing a good job on that. Some really, really cool stuff in there. There's some new details, there's a little bit of information on the story, which is quite cool. What the people are doing here, what all the new NPCs are doing in Appalachia, and also a little bit on how the story interacts from Wastelanders with the existing story in the game, which is really, really cool to see. And yet more tantalising hints of the Overseer from Vault 76's voice yet again. So, you've got to wonder whether or not we're going to run into it yet, or ever, or maybe at some point in the future, who knows. So, before we jump in, little caveat, obviously you guys are not going to be able to hear the sound as I'm watching this. I will put a link down in the description so you can watch it yourself if you'd like to, but if I put the sound in this, then I'm going to have copyright claims flying all over the place, so we best avoid that. But, in the meantime, you'll be able to see it, and like I say, you can watch it yourselves if you want all the fine details yourself. So, let's take a look. Disclaimer, very, very traditional start. And yep, already the music is copyright nightmare. Nice. The Wayward, very cool. So, we've already seen a little bit about this in your first visit to Wayward. There's something going down. Looks like somebody's holding up the place at gunpoint, and we've seen before that somebody gets involved and it meets the predictable wasteland end. But before we dive any further, of course, there will be the odd spoiler to avoid if you're concerned about such things. Obviously, nothing that's not already here or already been covered in the previous blog posts, but just an FYI. So, carrying on. Okay, that's cool. Oh, Bethesda do bows well, and that is, yeah, that looks promising. I'm looking forward to that, really looking forward to getting an archery character on the go. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that set up a little bit on down the line, and take that one down the Settler Road, I think. I'm going to take one of my other characters down the Raider Road, should be cool. Yeah, very excited for this. Nice, nice. The buried treasure, or hidden treasure, or something to that effect, which is somewhere in Appalachia, and the word has gone out, and that's what's brought everybody back. That kind of makes sense. Not the most original story premise that I've ever heard of, not by Bethesda standards or anybody else's, but it works, and it can be done well. Done badly, but if they've done it well, it should be pretty interesting, and as we'll see in a moment, I think it opens up some potentially quite cool gameplay loops for the latter portion of the update. So, late game sort of cycle, which has been a bit of a problem for 76 so far. So, hopefully they'll have something very cool here. I know they did say to PAX East that they were working on that sort of game loop at the end and the balancing of it in conjunction with the feedback they got from the PTS. So, that should be a promising sign. It should be very cool. Carry on. Okay, not very far then. So, Foundation is looking very, very cool. Every little bit of the area has been built on and used and sort of reworked, which is very, very cool. And this is something that is quite cool as well. This little location here, unless I'm much mistaken, is one of the very cool locations not far from Point Pleasant. It's a tiny little former raider hangout up in the trees. And sort of a little campsite down below you can sort of see down the bottom there. And yeah, a load of tree houses connected by rope bridges. It's a very fun, cool location. I stumbled across it surprisingly recently, actually. It struck me as somewhere that might be coming to life when Wastelanders comes out, so it looks like there's a good chance of something cool happening here. Fingers crossed we'll have some raiders or somebody taking up residence here, which will be cool. Oh, nothing new there. So there's a little hint on the whole Raiders angle, because as I said before, the Raiders are not the traditional archetype, or at least the main faction of Raiders aren't. The Blood Eagles, who are a separate group, are. But this particular main faction are not exactly settlers, but they're the returning Raiders who occupied the place some sort of 20 years ago, I suppose, in the immediate aftermath of the bombs. And they want to take back they see as their rightful home. And they see all the settlers and so on, and the cultists and whatever else as invaders. So it's a bit of a different tone to what we've had in the past. They're not the usual bloodthirsty maniacs. As I say, the Blood Eagles obviously will be, but these guys not so much. So that should be an interesting line to take. So how that's going to work with the 76ers, I don't know. Because obviously the 76ers are Appalachians pre-war. So they, in some ways, have even more claim than the Raiders do. But in other ways, once the bombs fell, what happens to all prior claims, I suppose. So interesting to see how that's going to go, but very, very cool. A little bit of that tone there, as Todd Howard's fond of pointing out. That's very cool to see. Raiders are looking really good. Yeah, very cool. Somebody's rocking a railway rifle. Very weird looking hand gear there. Mittens, apparently. Leather mittens. Ooh. Cool barricade. So that's very, very cool. Scorched, still in the game, obviously. They're not removing the old content, but they've got an angle for it to work in with the news story, as in these new people, they're obviously not immunised against the Scorched Plague like the 76ers are, and there's nobody else apart from the 76ers left in Appalachia prior to this. So, it just means that these people are coming in and they're vulnerable to the Scorched Plague again. So, obviously, that is actually quite a serious consideration. If they haven't been completely wiped out, which clearly they're not, the Scorched are still going to be knocking around, then there's a little interesting angle there as to what you're going to do about that and how they're going to handle that. So, a little bit of an interesting overlap should be quite cool there. Good to see the two stories interacting, because they could kind of seem like awkward separate entities, which looks like Bethesda are making a good effort to avoid. So, jumping back a little moment here. Wonder what the heck's going on here. It looks like possibly the Raiders, possibly somebody else, has captured a Scorched and strapped a half gas mask on there, presumably to prevent themselves getting infected, but it's got a distinct Hannibal Lecter vibe about it. There's going to be something interesting to this, I think. That's very, very cool. Oh, Chinese stealth armor coming back. That's going to be very, very cool. Yeah, a lot of people from the old Fallout 3 crowd are going to be happy about that. Something that didn't really feature in Fallout 4. Via mods, but not in the base game, so I think there'll be people happy to see that coming back. Some cool new power armor skins as well. That looks like the Gatling Gauss gun, or something to that effect. Basically a Gauss rifle, but in Gatling form, which is an insanely expensive weapon to fire, but it looks quite devastating, so that's cool. Lots of cool colours here. Interesting underground location. This is new. Okay, so it looks like we've got jump back a scene here. Massive drill busting into somewhere. Something related to Garahan or Hornwright Mining, probably. I'm thinking Garahan, because I think there's a big ruined drill thing inside Garahan Mining, or something to that effect, from what I recall. So it's probably got something to do with that. That's very, very cool. This location looks remarkably clean, so I'm wondering where it is. Busting in there. Somebody's looks like they're resident down at the bottom there, so very happy about the entrance that this massive drill's making. It'll be interesting to see what's going on there. And who's our suave-looking fella in a tuxedo? Possibly somebody setting up a casino or something to that effect to run in there. Got that kind of a tone to it, which is interesting. Somebody looking very, very raidery. If I'm correct, then that backpack will be the part of the new Raider pack that's coming with the launch of Wastelanders. So keep an eye out for those. There's some cool stuff in there. Don't they always? Oh, decent look at some guns. So we've got a plasma weapon over there. Plasma shotgun from the look of it. This side we've got a plasma caster, which is a returning old weapon, old favourite. That is a very clean looking barrel on it compared to the rest of it, so I wonder what kind of attachment we've got on there. But hopefully that's going to imply that along with Wastelanders will come some fixes to energy weapons. Certainly laser rifles, plasma weapons, not very effective, not really worth it. You don't see very many people using them in the game at the moment, so hopefully that's something Bethesda have said they want to work on, and I'm guessing if they're bringing these new weapons in, they'll do it with the main update, as well as obviously with the subsequent balance pass that they're going to be doing, hopefully in the summer, but probably later on, based on what's going on at the moment. Okay, very cool. And also we've got a new kind of stun button type thing going on there that looks nasty. It looks quite clean and nice and all, but I don't think I'd want to be on the receiving end. He's rocking the prisoner collars there. Yeah, I'm wondering if these people are actually prisoners. We have an arena. This could be a lot of fun. Craft a monster. A couple of the new floating monsters there. Hang on a second, was that a super mutant? I swear that was a super mutant in the group. Further back there. Okay, those guys look very, very cool. They're going to be interesting. Depending on the setting, like out and about, they'll kind of blend in a little bit. But in certain other situations like this, the colours look awesome, so that's going to be pretty epic. That's the super mutant. So I'm guessing this arena type deal has something to do with our friend in the tuxedo there. I assume that's the same guy. Hard to tell from this kind of an angle. So we've got a bunch of player characters around the front here, NPCs. What's the deal with the super mutant who's standing there in what appears to be a blacksmith apron and carrying a minigun though? And not shooting at the player. That could be interesting. New super mutant characters. Graham went over pretty well. He's a bit of a legend, so this could be very, very interesting. Definitely want to find out more about this. I'm guessing, I'm going to go on a limb here, that this is Watoga Underground with this sort of arena location, because it's definitely got a raider vibe. The whole situation here's got a raider vibe. There's just little bits of the mechanical nature of it and the equipment around makes me think maybe that's what's going on down here. Possibly. It'd be very, very cool. Ooh. Now that is very, very cool as well. So, Vault 79. Now, I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but a while back, a brand new vault that was not originally in the game was discovered in a cave way up north. And you can't get in there right now. It's well hidden, but nonetheless it has been found, so I guess not that well hidden. You can't interact with it, you can't do anything with it, you can't get in there, but it's something that wasn't there at launch of the game, was added more recently. And sort of ahead of the launch of Wastelanders, obviously, and after the announcement of its delay, I think, once they started sneaking stuff into the game, sort of in preparation for it. So I'm wondering what the significance of this is going to be. I'm guessing part of the end game loop, sort of in a similar vein to the existing Vault raids, or the ones that they're removing, but hopefully a little better, because those weren't done as well as they could have been, unfortunately. But looks like, I mean, this being the location of the treasure would be too obvious, in a sense. I mean, I hope they haven't just given away the location of the treasure in the middle of the trailer. That would suck. But something cool is going on here, no doubt. So it'll be interesting to explore that. And we haven't really had a great deal of opportunity to explore vaults in... well, we haven't had any opportunity, actually, to explore them in 76. So introduction of a new vault that we can get inside, other than, say, the vault raids, that's very, very cool. Should be very interesting to get stuck into, bringing back that old school Fallout vibe, which is cool. And of course, the outro. Yeah, some very, very cool stuff in there. So, jumping back through a couple of things I've just wanted to pull out here at the end that I didn't quite catch the first look through. You've got here, something Bethesda mentioned before, that the Settlers and the Raiders both are going to be more like active communities than perhaps in previous games, and obviously previously in 76. So you have certain times of day, like the evening, where they're going to gather and have social events, stuff like that. So you can see you've got settlers here at Foundation who are having a little bit of a play on the instruments and a little bit of a gathering around the campfire, which is really cool. And raiders will be doing something similar, just to kind of bring those settlements a little bit to life, which is very, very cool. Make them a really interesting place to hang out. Definitely think they're going to become something of a social hub. So I'd expect there'll be a place with a lot of players around. Most of the big quests will be behind instances, which is all to the good if they're going to be popular places for people to hang out. But we'll have to see how it actually pans out. But I think that's a likely scenario. But yeah, it should be a nice living, breathing environment. And I reckon we'll get quite a few players hanging out, particularly around Foundation, because I suspect most people will lean in that settler direction. You get the raider ones as well, which is probably the way I'm going to go first, at least. But yeah, I think you can get a lot of people around Foundation early on. But that's what the instancing is for, so it's not a total scrum to get at the quest givers and stuff like that. So hopefully it should be reasonably manageable. And of course, there's only 24 people on each server, so that kind of holds the numbers down a little bit as well. And once you get past the first day or so as well, people will start spacing out through the story a little bit more, so shouldn't be too bad, apart from maybe in the first few hours, I wouldn't think. Now, jumping on. So we've had a little look before in the very, very early days of the promotional materials at what I think is the farm just up from Vault 76. I swear the name begins with an A, but I can't remember. Either way, it's got a crashed aeroplane that we can see here, and the Nuka-Cola site. It looks like they've had a bit of a shift around and maybe fortified it a little bit more. Maybe not. It could just be the angle we're getting a shot from here. It could just be inside their potato patch, actually. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's been taken over. And it looks like some of the old buildings that are closed might be getting opened up and be given interiors for this as well. So new structures to get into and stuff like that's going to be very, very cool. There's a lot of potential for that in the game already. And a lot of new interiors to explore that would be cool. As well as some of the other stuff that we're being teased here and other things that they haven't mentioned to us. So, moving on. Little shot of the cultists, presumably in the church down south of the Nuka-Cola factory. Down in Kanawha County. I don't remember exactly what the church is called, but down by the river anyway. And that looks like it's going to become a very cultist-heavy location. There's already a few cultist bits and pieces there, but that Mothman statue is hideous and brilliant. Love it. And they're wearing a lot of wooden armor, which is really, really cool. So hopefully, I'd like to see the wooden armor get a little bit more effective, because it'd be cool to have a character that's geared towards it and that wasn't really, really squishy. I mean, at the same time, of course, that's a little unrealistic, but it's a tough balance to strike, I think, there. Jumping on to the next location they've shown us. This is, you see the ash heap in the distance there. This is the end of the mountain range separating the forest from where the White Spring is. There's a little set of shacks on the edge of the cliff there, just down from the White Spring lookout. Cool building. You occasionally get a few scorch, something hanging around there. Not much else, maybe a few ghouls. But it looks like we're going to have a few raiders taking over this as one of the other unmarked locations. Not the core faction base, like Foundation will be for settlers. That's former Spruce Knob, and Crater at the old Crash Space Station for the main raider base. But they've got other locations around, some new, and it looks like this is a returning one that's had a bit of an overhaul, which is cool. Although I know there are a few people who have built here in the past, so it's another example of a place where camps are going to be moved from, I think. Yeah, very, very interested to find out a little bit about these few locations here as well. There's some very, very cool stuff in there that I'm curious about. Like it'll be at Crater. Yeah, I'm willing to bet this is Watoga Underground. And of course the mystery of Vault 79. So, very, very cool. Yeah, very, very excited for this Tuesday. Very much looking forward to getting stuck into this. Some very, very cool stuff in there. Some very, very interesting things. Some very, very cool little teasers in there. And of course, God knows what else that they haven't told us about as well. So, very much excited for that. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below about things that you thought were particularly interesting and things that you spotted maybe that I didn't, that caught your eye. Some very, very cool stuff in there, so let me know what you guys think. You guys going to go settlers or raiders? You can do new builds? Let me know what you've got in mind for that. Or are you going to take existing characters along with you and explore the story that way? I've got a plan to do a bit of both, I think. Because it does change depending on which one you do. So, very, very cool in that regard. Yeah, not a great deal on the dialogue system or anything in there, but to be fair, as much as everybody's interested in seeing that, it doesn't make for great trailers, so kind of understand that. But, there we go. So, for now, I'm going to leave this one here, and I eagerly await hearing what you guys have to say about this, seeing what you guys think about it. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, while you're down there, social media links in the description as well if you want to catch up with me on Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, so do head on over there and drop me a little follow. And do hit the bell notification as well. We'll be streaming the living daylights out of Wastelanders when it comes out. My plan is to jump in just as soon as I possibly can once the update goes live again, so watch the social medias and watch the community page on the channel, but I'll be having a close eye on that come Tuesday, so very much looking forward to that. Speaking of streaming for tonight, I think by the time I'm done with this particular video, I'll probably have to give tonight a miss, so we'll jump back into that one tomorrow night and pick up Mass Effect again, which is great fun. Kicking it old school there, with a few mods to give it a little bit more of a up-to-date look, which is cool. Having a lot of fun with that one, so I do hope you'll join. For now, so thank you very, very much for watching. Do hit the buttons for me as always, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.